The next panelist is Mr. Jar. Oh, you're doing the last. Oh, okay. So the next panelist is a youth delegate from Sri Lanka, Ms. Jayathma Wickramanyake. Is this the right way to pronounce your name? Okay.
Thank
you. Have the floor.
Madam Chair, distinguished delegates and my fellow youth delegates, first and foremost, I'm honored to be here in this panel today representing my fellow youth delegates and also my home country, Sri Lanka. My presentation will be based on the challenges young people in the world are facing today and some best practices from Sri Lanka to overcome these challenges, and then the role of UN programs related to youth in the arena of youth development. And I think my colleague Samuel will focus more on the third point, which is how to assess progress in youth-related fields effectively. So today I represent half of the world, the youth of the world to be precise. Young people account for half of the global population, and where I am coming from, the global south, we make up more than 2/3 of that youth population. That is the biggest asset this earth ever had. We young people do not just feed off the system. We aren't leeches on the wealth of society. We make national investments into products and outcomes. We help run the world with our energy, our spirit, and our will to make change. But young people all over the world today are worried about the challenges they are facing every day, which will affect their lives in the future. They, more than anyone else, understand the urgency of finding solutions to our global crisis, which was created by the previous generations. Presently, the well-being of the millions who make up half of the world, meaning young people, are at risk. The links between the health of our environment and the socio-economic challenges that face us inspire youth to act and provide smart solutions to build a better place for me, you, and all species on this planet. And that is the future we all want. Let me summarize some of the challenges facing young people today. The world talks a lot about youth issues, especially the youth-focused wings of political parties in many parts of the world. Unfortunately, very little has been done to enlist them in the decision-making processes within political parties. More policy focus is needed to understand the realities facing youth on the ground in order to find lasting solutions to our problems. The Global Development Agenda has yet to prioritize youth in a substantive way and make them more participatory by recognizing our potential. The smartest and the most able youth from the global south tend to migrate to more developed countries for better education and economic opportunities, either legally or illegally. The term boat people might be familiar to you. Young people can play a critical role in post-conflict reconciliation efforts in their countries. Nevertheless, they tend to be disregarded in the processes that are meant to heal society. Young people are frequently seen as a national security hazard, a social liability, and oftentimes governments do not recognize them as partners. Huge corporate media conglomerates have desensitized the youth of today by making them increasingly materialistic and less concerned about the futures of their societies and the world as a whole. Far too many young people have fallen victim to unbridled consumerism. Now that I have given you a snapshot of the challenges global youth face, I would like to share some best practices in terms of dealing with these challenges within the national context of my country. Almost 26% of Sri Lanka's 20 million people are youth. Following the end of the conflict in my country, we have initiated a youth-led reconciliation process, a program that is frequently mentioned in the recent World Programme Action Youth Report of the Secretary General. One of it is the Youth Parliament of Sri Lanka. The Youth Parliament was conceived and implemented to mark the International Year of Youth in 2010. It has 335 members between the ages of 15 and 29. all ethnic and religious communities in the country are represented through a democratic election process similar to the national electoral system. By electing youth policymakers, we can strengthen the youth voice in the political decision-making process. These young parliamentarians are given every opportunity to engage and actively contribute to policy making in the national parliamentary select committees assigned to different sectors. They also actively engage at the local government level in development activities and processes. 25% of the young parliamentarians are from the post-conflict areas in the north and the east. They now have a useful platform to voice their grievances through democratic means. For 30 years, they were victims in a bloody conflict. Today, they are youth parliamentarians who are leaders in the development of their communities. The Youth Parliament has also given leadership opportunities to disabled young people and youth from indigenous communities. We also have a young person who is living with HIV. The aim of setting up the Youth Parliament was to create leaders who will be nurtured in the finest democratic ideals and practices. It also provides an important opportunity in post-conflict Sri Lanka to foster values of tolerance, harmony, and coexistence. These aspiring leaders in the Youth Parliament are expected to meaningfully contribute to peace, justice, and democracy. I would also like to take this opportunity to invite you all to Sri Lanka to witness the Youth Parliament election, which will be held in a few weeks' time to elect the next set of national youth leaders. After 30 years of conflict, we believe that having a stable and a violence-free environment is the key to achieving the internationally agreed development goals, and Sri Lanka is on the track to reaching that milestone. While the government is funding and creating the necessary infrastructure to address the challenges in the post-conflict environment, the youth organizations themselves have also taken a step forward by actively engaging with the policymakers to formulate our new national youth policy. Active participation and involvement of youth in local and national activities is facilitated by a dedicated National Youth Services Council. I am thankful to our policymakers for investing significant budgetary resources in the National Youth Council to equip it to meet the ever-changing needs of the youth population in my country. Allow me to mention an important initiative that is meant to identify and nurture future leaders of Sri Lanka. It's called the Emerging Young Leader Award. I myself was selected through this competitive national program. 100 youth leaders were selected in the first ever competition on the basis of our leadership, decision-making skills, and soft skills. We have been given many opportunities to serve the country, including representing our country in national delegations to different high-level international meetings. I am very proud to say that I am one of the 2 first ever UN youth delegates in Sri Lanka's history. I'm even more proud to state it was 2 young women, one from the north and me from the south, who were selected through an open and competitive process to represent our country. Our involvement and representation here at the UN is part of our reconciliation as well as youth empowerment efforts. I am both happy and confident to say that we Sri Lankan youth are determined to change our country and the world for the better. Someone once said, "Be inspired to inspire." The National Youth Services Council has inspired a large number of youth in Sri Lanka and the region of South Asia itself. This includes me as well. The persons, institutions, and agencies at the personal, national, regional, and international levels who support and empower young people like me deserve a big round of applause for creating the platform we so desperately needed. Well, since we are here in the UN headquarters in New York and not in Sri Lanka, it's important that we find concrete ways of strengthening the youth voice at the international policy-making level. We all know that the Secretary General has made youth one of his second-term priorities. He has proven that he is taking this commitment seriously since he has just appointed a special envoy on youth. We are also aware that UN Habitat and UNDP have taken the lead in lobbying for the establishment of a permanent forum on youth. Moreover, we know about the significant efforts of the focal point on youth in coordinating and improving the UN Youth Delegate Program. Nevertheless, these agencies and UN actors cannot do this daunting and important work all on their own. We need all stakeholders, ranging from the member states to youth-led organizations and other youth UN agencies who deal with youth issues, to be more active in youth development policy. In the Open Working Group to develop Sustainable Development Goals, Sri Lanka is working with other member states to mainstream youth in the post-2015 development agenda in every possible area. As a young person from the Global South, I firmly believe that youth can play a very important role in all aspects of development. Therefore, the concerns of young people must be central and integral to policy making in the Global South. I am glad Sri Lanka is making sincere efforts towards that end and is also hosting World Conference on Youth in 2014. This conference will act as a platform to further strengthen youth participation in every facet of the post-2015 development agenda. I look forward to welcoming you all there. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Jayathma.